Hello everyone and welcome back to the ShadcnSpace channel. Have you ever wished your favorite AI coding assistant could generate websites using real production-ready Shadcn UI components instead of having to build everything from scratch? Well, now it can. In this video, I'll show you how to connect the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP Server with three of the most popular AI development tools. Lovable, V0 Bolt. Once connected, these AI builders can browse the entire ShadcnSpace component library and use hundreds of professionally designed components to generate landing pages, dashboards, marketing websites, authentication pages, and much more. We'll go through each platform step by step, starting with Lovable, then V0, and finally Bolt. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to connect the MCP server and start building beautiful, production-ready websites with just a few prompts. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before we connect the MCP server to Lovable, V0, or Bolt, we first need to generate our authentication token. Let's head over to the ShadcnSpace website. From the navigation menu, open the Cloud MCP server page. Here, you'll find an overview of the Cloud MCP server along with the setup instructions for different AI tools. Now click on the View Documentation button. This will take you to the complete setup guide. The most important thing you'll need throughout this process is your MCP authentication token. Don't worry. Creating it is very simple. Your token is made up of just two values: your ShadcnSpace account email, the same email you use to sign in, your license key, which you can find in your ShadcnSpace dashboard. Simply combine them using a colon in between. The format looks like this: your mail at example.com colon, your dash license dash key. For example, john at example.com colon L IC dash XXXXXX. That's it. This combined value becomes your MCP token. We'll use this same token when connecting the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server to Lovable, V0, and Bolt. Now that our token is ready, let's move on and connect the Cloud MCP server to Lovable. Open Lovable, and from the home screen, click the plus icon to open the creation menu. From here, select connectors. You'll now see a list of available integrations. Scroll through the list and choose Custom MCP. This will open the Add MCP server form. Here, you'll find a few fields to configure, including server name, server URL, and authentication. Don't worry about remembering these values. We already have everything ready in the ShadcnSpace documentation. Open the documentation we visited earlier and copy the values into their respective fields. This ensures that your MCP server is configured correctly and ready to communicate with Lovable. Once you've filled in all the required information, click the Add and Authorize button. If everything is configured correctly, Lovable will successfully connect to the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server and display the list of tools provided by the server. Seeing this list confirms that the connection is successful. Let's see it in action. For this example, we've used the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server to generate a complete healthcare website. Using just a few prompts, Lovable was able to discover and use components directly from the ShadcnSpace registry, including several ShadcnSpace Pro blocks to build a polished, production-ready landing page. Take a look at the preview. You can see how the AI has assembled a modern hero section, well-structured content, professional layouts, and premium UI blocks to create a clean, responsive healthcare website in just a matter of minutes. This is the power of connecting your AI builder with the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server. Instead of generating generic layouts, it builds your project using high-quality, reusable components that are ready for real-world applications. Now, let's connect the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server to V0. Just like Lovable, We've also created detailed documentation for the V0 integration. If you ever need to refer back to the setup, simply follow the steps in our documentation. First, open v0.dev and navigate to Settings. From there, select Integration, then click Add Custom MCP Connection. You'll see a configuration form where you'll need to enter a few details, including the server name and server URL. Make sure these match the values provided in our documentation. For authentication, select Headers. Next, click plus Add Header. In the header key field, enter x-API-key. Then, in the header value field, paste the MCP token that we created earlier using your email address and license key. Once you've entered all the required information, click Add to save the configuration. If everything is configured correctly, V0 will successfully connect to the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP Server. Now that the connection is complete, let's see what we built using the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP Server in V0. For this example, we asked V0 to create a modern SaaS landing page using ShadcnSpace components. Instead of showing the prompts or generated code, let's jump straight to the final preview. As you can see, V0 has created a clean, professional landing page using components from the ShadcnSpace registry. From the hero section and feature highlights to the pricing, testimonials, and call to action, everything follows a consistent, production ready design. This demonstrates how quickly you can go from a simple idea to a polished website when V0 has access to the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server. Whether you're building a startup landing page, a marketing website, or your next SaaS product, you can generate high quality interfaces in minutes using reusable ShadcnSpace components. Now let's connect the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server to bolt.new. Just like Lovable and V0, we've also prepared detailed documentation for the Bolt integration. If you're following along, simply open the documentation and use the same values shown there. In Bolt, open the Settings panel. Next, navigate to the MCP Servers section. Click on Custom MCP Server to add a new connection. A configuration form will appear. Fill in all the required fields exactly as shown in our documentation, including the server details and authentication information. You'll also see an option called Auto Enable for all projects. This step is optional, but we recommend enabling it so the MCP server is automatically available whenever you create a new project. Once everything is filled in, click Save. If the configuration is correct, the server status will change to Connected, and you'll see the complete list of tools provided by the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server. That's it. Now that the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server is connected, there's one more step before we can use it. Simply enable the MCP server for your project, just as we're doing here. Once it's enabled, Bolt can access the complete ShadcnSpace component library. Now let's put it to work. We'll ask Bolt to create a modern portfolio website for a developer using ShadcnSpace components. After submitting the prompt, Bolt starts discovering the most suitable components from the registry and assembles them into a complete website. We'll fast forward through the generation process. And here is the final result. As you can see, Bolt has generated a clean and professional developer portfolio featuring a modern hero section, project showcase, skills, experience, contact section, and other beautifully designed layouts, all powered by ShadcnSpace components. This is how easy it is to build production-ready websites with Bolt when it's connected to the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server. And that's how you can connect the ShadcnSpace Cloud MCP server with Lovable, V0, and Bolt to build production-ready websites using real ShadcnSpace components. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the ShadcnSpace channel, and let us know in the comments which AI builder you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Happy building with ShadcnSpace.